Hey, you, I need you to hit the subscribe button below.
Let me get the dietary law. Alright, let's start out with Leviticus chapter, let's start at 11, 45 and 46, I believe. The last two verses. Alright? Because God makes a difference on what we're allowed to eat, because God made us. So He would know what's best for us. Right?
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse 46. This is the law of the beast and of the fowl and every living creature that moveth in the waters.
So the law of the beast would be like cow, cattle, goat. The law of the fowl, another word for fowl is birds.
And every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean.
God says to make a difference between the unclean and the clean. Today, the Christian church doesn't make a difference between the unclean and the clean. Because what they're going to be Tomorrow they're gonna pull out the grill, you know what I'm saying? Throw them baby backs on the grill, you know what I'm saying? So they're not making a difference between the unclean and the clean.
Bring it up.
But the scriptures is here to help us make a difference between the unclean and the clean.
To make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may be eaten, be not eaten.
So the beast that may be eaten, that we're allowed to eat, and the beast that we're not allowed to eat. You know what I'm saying? Because what we're going to read about, we're going to start off with the pig, and then we're going to go into the seafood. You know what I'm saying? Because many of our people, blacks and Latinos, we like to eat seafood, and you know damn well, many of our people, blacks and Latinos, they like to eat pork too. But God is going to let us know, going to make a difference on what we can eat and what we cannot eat. Go ahead.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse 7. Bring it up. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed.
So the swine, which is the pig, though he divides the hoof and be cloven-footed, just like the cow. The cow divides the hoof and is cloven-footed as well. But the cow chews the cud, meaning he digests its food. Read on.
Yet he cheweth not the cud.
But the pig doesn't chew the cud. The pig doesn't have a digestive system. Okay? The pig doesn't sweat on the outside. Okay, a pig doesn't have veins. So just think about it. All those body parts that we eat from the pig, that's what we're putting into our body. You know what I'm saying? Like ham is the butt cheeks of the pig. You know, bacon is the belly slices. That's the bottom of the pig. You know what I'm saying? You people be eating pig ears and all of that stuff. So whatever that unclean animal eats, that's what we are putting into our bodies. That's why God says not to do it. Chitlins, all of that. You know, those are the intestines of the pig, and we already know what is held up in our intestines. All right, bring it out. It may be the color brown. You know what I'm saying? What's in our intestines gets flushed down the toilet. You know what I'm saying? So when we eat the chitlins, that's what we eating. Bring it out. We gotta think about these things. You know. So read on.
He is unclean to you.
So God says He's unclean to us. Now God created it, but He created it for His purpose. He created it for His purpose to be a garbage disposal to clean the feces of other farm animals. You know what I'm saying? If the horse goes number 2, or the cow goes number 2, or any of those farm or born animals, that's what the pig is there to do, to clean up and eat their stuff.
That's right.
Go ahead. Yeah, read on.
Verse 8, of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcasses shall ye not touch.
So when it says, of their flesh shall we not eat, and their carcass shall we not touch. Now it's not saying we can't throw a football, because you may have a football that's made out of pigskin, but we're not going to eat the football. When it says touch it, it means don't touch it to eat it. We may have, with our sisters, our wives, our daughters, they may have a brush that has pig hairs near it. You know what I'm saying? So stuff that we may touch may be made from a pig, but God says not to eat it. Don't ingest it. Don't put it in your mouth, swallow it, and digest it. That's what He's saying. Right? We don't.
Verse 9. these shall ye eat of all that are in the waters.
So now we're going to get into the seafood. Now we're going to get into the seafood, things that we like to eat, in the sea,
Whatsoever have fins and scales.
So, whatsoever has fins and scales, you know what I'm saying? You may have, all fish may have fins, but not all fish have scales. So that, just look at crab. Crab doesn't have fins or scales, so that's off our list. So shrimp doesn't have fins or scales, so that's off our grocery list. Catfish has fins, but it doesn't have scales. What the scales do, the same thing with lobster. What the scales do, the scale is a filtration for the fish. The same way the scales is how the fish chews the cud. The same way the cow, it chews the cud by having 4 multiple stomachs, so that way it could eat its food, regurgitate it, and then goes back into a different stomach. So that way the body of the animal stays clean, and where God says it's allowed for us to eat. So the same thing with the scales of the fish. That is the filtration system to make that fish clean for us, where it's allowed for us to eat in the eyesight of God. Unlike catfish, unlike shark, because those are bottom feeders. You know what I'm saying? They are there the same way the pig is there to clean the earth. Those fish, they are there to clean the feces from the other fish that fall and drop to the bottom of the sea. You ever go to a doctor's office, you always see the catfish sucking on the glass? You ever see that before?
Bring it out.
What they doing? They clean it. They'll stay there for hours with just his mouth on the glass. That catfish will not move. So that's how we know that catfish is in that fish tank to clean the feces of the other fish that are swimming beside it.
That's right.
We don't.
Whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat.
Go ahead.
And in all that have not fins and scales, in the sea, and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you.
God says when we eat those things, it's an abomination unto us. It's an abomination in the eyesight of God. So these are simple commandments. Let me get Matthew 5:17. Do y'all have any questions? No, we can eat seafood, but it has to have fins and scales. Okay, so examples of fish that have fins and scales will be salmon, snapper, tuna fish. Give me some other ones. Salmon. What else we can eat? Grouper, trout. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we could eat seafood, but the fish that we can't eat that doesn't have fins and scales would be shrimp, crab, lobster, catfish, shark. So we're allowed to eat seafood, but we just have to go according to what God says. You know what I'm saying? And it's fine, we ain't gonna starve. God gave us a healthy diet because we are a holy people. So God made us separate. God made our body parts separate. God made our body parts different from all the other nations. That's why you can see the Chinese people bite off the head of a bat.
Bring it out.
And they eat it. They eat it like the same way we eat fried chicken.
Bring it out.
That's right.
But let us try to bite off the head of a bat. We'll be spitting it right back out. We'll be puking, vomiting.
That's right.
Our bodies ain't made for that. We made different than them. We better than them.
That's right.
All right? Give me Matthew 5:17. I want to show you something that Christ said, because today we've been taught that that's the Old Testament. Leviticus, about pork, about the shrimp, that's the Old Testament. But I want to show you that Christ said is still relevant today. Right?
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law.
So Christ comes and says, think not, don't think that I came to destroy the law.
All the prophets I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So Christ said he didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets, because when we read the prophets, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Moses, they all spoke about Christ. They all wrote about Christ. Christ just came. Christ is the word of God in the flesh.
That's right.
Christ has been here since the beginning.
Bring it out.
But he came in the flesh at a later time.
That's right.
Okay? So read on.
For verily I say unto you, to heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle.
We see heaven and earth still here. We see that we might get rained on later on today. You know what I'm saying? So if it's still raining, if it's still windy, we know that heaven and earth is still here.
That's right. Shall in no wise pass from the law.
So nothing shall pass from the law. Go ahead.
To all be fulfilled.
To all be fulfilled. You think it has all been fulfilled yet? Not yet, right? You think all been fulfilled? You know why all has not been fulfilled yet?
That's right.
Because COVID-19 is still going around.
That's right.
People still walking around with masks.
That's right. That's right.
People are still hating one another.
That's right.
Men are still committing adultery against their wives.
That's right.
Women are still cheating on their husbands.
That's right.
People are still beating their children, child abuse on their children.
That's right.
That's how we know that all has not yet been fulfilled. Because we're still living in an evil world.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Read on.
Whatsoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments.
So Christ is saying, whoever breaks one of the least commandments. A least commandment is us eating not eating pork, us not eating shrimp, us growing our beards, us having fringes, us keeping the Sabbath, us fellowshipping, us loving our wives, us loving our children. You know what I'm saying? Loving your brother as you love yourself. Correcting your brother. That's the least commandment. So God said. So Christ says, if we break that,
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so.
He said it shall teach men so. You know what I'm saying? Remember, we go back at it. That's the teacher of lies. Through his doctrine is how the example, because we teach through our mouth and we teach through our actions. So if we teaching men that, it's okay to eat pork, we teaching men, our brothers and sisters, that it's okay to shave your beard. You know, our women too. Our women are not supposed to wear pants. You know what I'm saying? So if another sister is teaching her sister that same thing. Today you got grandma's 50 years old and her granddaughter's 10 years old. You got the grandmother running around in spandex along with the 10-year-old granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? It's madness out here. And that's what Christ is saying. And shall teach men so. You're teaching so for example, that grandmother is teaching that little girl that it's okay for her to walk out the house like that. So she's breaking the least commandment, which is Deuteronomy 22:5, and then she's teaching her baby granddaughter that looks up to her probably as a role model and thinks that grandma does no wrong in her eyes. You know what I'm saying? Because grandma always lies with her. She always does that. That's why it says the gift destroys the heart. Blindeth the eyes of the wise. You know what I'm saying? Grandma take her candy, you know what I'm saying? You know, to the park or whatever. But at the same time, and grandma may not know, but at the same time, she's teaching her how to break one of those least commandments. Same thing with us men. Our example, we are walking examples of Christ.
You used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.